On Nationwide this evening, meet the man who owns his very own island and is turning it into a cultural centre. Fancy a pint? These County Waterford people did, so they set up their own brewery. Celebrating the tourism boost which they hope will travel down this canal, and the Kilkenny family, which brought their very own twist to self-catering. And you're very welcome to another edition of the programme. And this evening we're looking at projects which support and encourage the development of tourism throughout Ireland. We're coming to you from the west, from County Mayo in fact, and we're here to meet a chap who you might say is half Irish, half Egyptian, and he's been working on a project to turn an island which he has bought into a cultural centre.
Of the 365 or so islands that lie in Clubay off the County Mayo coast, the vast majority lie silent and uninhabited. But for one man and his family, a chance visit and a leap of faith saw him become the chief islander, as he calls himself, of Inish, Turk.
The story is that I was travelling a lot and I was getting on a flight to Tokyo, and Sandra rang me and said there's half an island for sale in Clubay, and I said that's brilliant, go and have a look at the details. When I landed in Tokyo, she said actually it's the whole island, and I said, oh, we've got to get it, we've got to buy it, having no idea about anything, how feasible it was or affordable it was or anything else. And so on my 40th birthday we came as a kind of present to me, and as an indulgence we came and had a barbecue or a picnic all day on the island, and we were completely enraptured by it from that day on, really.
And the journey, which began back in 2003, has seen a small fortune being invested in the island's infrastructure, from providing basic power and mains water through to the construction of roads, houses and the island's jetties.
There used to be a village down here by the old pier, and that's a lovely bit of the real living ancient part of the island. But in truth there was very little else. There was a Dutch couple who, as pioneering spirits, had set up a small kind of remote translation business and were living here, and they had done fantastic work planting trees everywhere and doing some rudimentary stuff. There's a derelict 19th century cottage, and that was about it. And then since then we've put in the infrastructure and the buildings and made it into a viable home and also a viable kind of place of business, if you like.
And that business has two aspects. First, the island as a holiday destination. Nadeem and his family spend up to 4 months a year living on Inish, Turk. But for the remainder of the year, the island's full-time staff can cater for those who want to get away from it all.
I mean, it's a wonderful way of life, and it's just you are so close to nature out here as well. Looking after all the animals and the vegetables and things like that. It's a different sort of scenario when there are guests here. Obviously we're very busy with them and getting supplies out and getting things organised for the guests, and get people on and off the island, getting staff on and off the island as well. The facilities that there's a lot of indoor activities to do as well, and beautiful swimming pool and all the indoor games rooms as well, which means that there's a lot going on even on a bad day.
And with views like these over Clubay towards Croagh-Patrick, it's easy to imagine spending days on end here just enjoying the peace and quiet. But this is the west of Ireland, and even the dogs on the street know how quickly things can change around here.
It's not all round sunshine. We do get different weathers here, but it's exciting. I mean, even in the middle of winter, in a storm, there can be a force 10 raging out there, and it's an exciting place to be. I love going up onto the top of the island in that kind of weather and just watching the wildness of it all, and it's quite exhilarating. Well, when people aren't here, it's completely different. I mean, when we're here on our own, we're looking after what's here, we're trying to take care of it. There's a lot of maintenance, obviously. We are farming a farm as well, so we're a working farm. We've got horses, and then we've got sheep, cattle, 2 little coonies, which you'll come across.
And those coonies are also known here as Bubble and Squeak, who spend their days strutting around the island like a pair of old dames. They are tasty though, so they generally give the kitchen a wide berth.
We've purposely brought 2 girls in first. So hopefully with those 2 females we'll breed eventually, but you don't breed from them. They're a year old now, so we've got in a year's time we'll be ready to breed from them. So we'll have to find a boar And then, you don't know. I believe it is quite tasty, but these are here for the duration.
Inish Turk Beg means small island of the wild boar. And as somebody who has forged a successful marketing career on a worldwide level, now Nadeem Sadek is turning his attention to developing the Inish Turk Beg brand, using lines of indigenous Irish products.
These barrels are the barrels that sit on the island as part of our whiskey making process. And they're basically third fill barrels. They're kind of knackered old barrels, because we learnt that the older they are, the better they pick up the atmosphere that surrounds us. And we have them here down by the shore, so they pick up all the scents and fragrances and the seaweed and the iodine and stuff. And then when we put our whiskey back into them, it filters back out into the whiskey and flavours it and becomes part of the island nature of the whiskey itself.
Whiskey and smoked fish are two of the Inish Turk Beg products available in shops, while others are in development. But there's more besides, including a traditional music project which pushes in all kinds of directions.
The music project was a fantastic one to have been involved with, and it's an ongoing one. We're planning to do a series, the Brilliant series, where we take, as we have done in the first place, the Irish flute, and then we'll go on to the fiddle and the harp and maybe the uilleann pipes and other things as well. But the real thing that is exciting is to get some fantastic new musicians, in a sense. I mean, Alan Doherty isn't exactly new. He's quite famous. He was the lead musician on Lord of the Rings. But he played a huge part in that Brilliant Irish Flute. And we all have an immense respect for Matt Malloy and what he's done for the Irish Flute. And indeed, that's why we had our first live gig there the other night. But it is very much saying, here's the new generation of fantastic musicians from Ireland. That's a kind of slightly hidden agenda within the whole music project. We're bringing new great Irish players to the fore.
Tourism ventures go, Inish Turk Beg sparkles with creativity and imagination. The investment made here means that the stakes are high. But as an inventive, evolving brand, you get the feeling that for this ancient island, a new chapter is just beginning.